Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back if this is your 6th DC Stargirl episode review for Season 2. And again, it just hit me in September. It just hit me. And I am very... It's also another crazy thing that by this time next week we'll be at the halfway mark of the season, and time is like crazy. Like the beginning of the season tends to go by faster than the second half for some reason. And... yeah, even though the season doesn't end until November, which still seems like a faraway goal, it just feels like this is going by so fast. Which, don't get me wrong, I like it so much, and especially this week's episode is, I think, the best episode of the season thus far. Just in scale of action and just the stakes alone, and actually giving me some good damn twists. Also, in the retrospect of just upping the game, like I've said this before many times recently on the show about pacing, is that the show purposely started out so slow for a good reason, to build up to this moment where we could have, any other Arrowverse show could have started. And yes, technically Stargirl is an Arrowverse show, technically speaking. It's part of everything DC TV related is technically in the same multiverse, but since Stargirl's on the CW, then it technically counts as the Arrowverse. I just call it the Arrowverse multiverse, or however you want to define it as. This type of episode would have definitely felt like something we would have seen at the first or second episode of the season. This definitely could have felt like the season premiere, and then we could have just gone so groggy and gotten so dry. But this episode proved like they know what they're doing. They know how to tell this story, and now that we're approaching, I want to say, like, technically episode 7 is technically supposed to be the halfway mark of the season. This felt like the mid-season finale to me. This definitely did, and I'm very excited to see where they're going to take the next 7 episodes. And obviously, again, like everything I said before, mostly when I do season predictions, stuff like that, the writers know better than me. I have faith in Jeff Johns and his team into making such a great season story, and this episode definitely just proves it, that they know what they're doing, and hopefully by the time we wrap up season 2 in November, we will hopefully... it will be another great season overall, speaking for Stargirl. But with that being said, let's get through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Stargirl. Damn, we begin at the diner. So for once, we don't begin with a flashback. Thank God. The flashbacks are done. We've done 5 episodes of flashbacks this week. No, we start with the flashbacks. Wait, did we start with a flashback? No. Well, there goes my Funko Pop wall that I forgot to reinforce. Whoops. Anyway, continuing onwards. So, we begin in the diner where Yolanda's working at. Again, I'm still surprised that Yolanda's parents are basically forcing her, hey, this summer, you ain't gonna have a summer. You're gonna go to summer school and you're gonna work. We ain't giving you any sort of money. Which kind of sucks. And Yolanda's not really doing so hot with the diner business. She really isn't. And... there's another waitress there, and she looks like a veteran, probably has been there for decades now, and she tells you, don't worry about it, you'll be fine, it's just, you're getting your groove on, just, don't let it affect your emotions, because if it affects your emotions, you're going to affect your tips. At least the good thing is that Yolanda doesn't have to pay rent or anything at this current margin, because I don't know when Stargirl's going to end, per se. What were they, in the end of their sophomore year, junior year? I think they were in the end of their sophomore year. So we still got some time to go. I think they pitched Stargirl 6 seasons, but that'll be later on in this run. But Yolanda has one more customer before the end of her shift. Turns out to be Pied Piper Jr. coming in, starting to mumbo and rambo. But immediately he flips the switch. Immediately turns it on Yolanda. First, getting a call back to episode 4, Yolanda's debut. Like, Yolanda's true origins episode about the whole... picture scandal, and then of course Yolanda killing Brainwave, and then her and the team taking down the ISA, and introvert. I forgot what happened to his mom. Was she part of the final battle? Like, I forgot. It's been a while since I seen season 1. Season 1 was like so long ago. It was like in the midst of the pandemic. Yeah, it's like we are still in a pandemic, but you understand what I mean. So eventually he runs off, but Yolanda gets a little bit creeped out. Beth also heads over to her dad's place of business in order to hopefully try to get some reconciliation talks going in between them, get the ideas popping in his head. But he's mainly like, listen, we love you. We'll talk about this as a family, but right now it's not the best for us to be talking right now without your mother present, which is kind of telltale that yeah, they're probably the divorce is probably gonna happen by this point. It's just legality issues. There's just they don't want to like blame the other side of things. So Bev's on his way out, her way out. She immediately calls Rick, which kind of gives a little tease. Is like, I read an interview at the start of the season where there was going to be like, of the four, obviously Rick is like the only male of the new JSA. So like, well, who is he going to pair off with? Because like, again, this is a CW show. There's bound to be pairing up at some point in the season's run. And honestly, Rick and Bev, it's kind of different. It makes sense, but it's kind of different. But those are just hints I'm picking up on. But before she can hang up the call and proceed to go somewhere else, Artemis shows up, attacks her with a freaking baseball. Like literally, she actually throws a baseball at her phone and it like literally cracks the entire screen. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this woman has superhuman strength, and no one thought to check on her. Oh, where was I? Yeah. Similar to Pied Piper Jr., Artemis is very well tells Bev, I know you're Dr. Midnight. I know you and your team took out the old ISA and specifically put my parents behind bars. So here's the thing. I'm going to take you down. Like, you know, jock versus nerd style. And I'm just like, oof. I'm going to be honest here. That's my only critique of the show. And again, I am not an actor. I am not an actress. I can't say anything about it. But I hold the right to have constructive criticism. I did not like Artemis's performance in this episode. This felt so forced and so off. Like, of everyone else, like, even Pied Piper Jr. did so well. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything. It just stood out like a sore thumb. It just really did. I have to get that out of the way here. But proceeding onwards, do we have a meeting between Courtney and Pat at some point? Yeah, we head to the school building. Courtney brings Pat along to look through the teacher who was possessed by Eclipso's paintings, trying to find clues. They're finding some clues of the matter, and then they're trying to look for the Brainwave one and the Solomon Grundy one, but Pat just tells her they were just illusions by Eclipso. Like, there are some that are actually real, but then there's some that are actually just figments of Eclipso's imagination. Damn, I forgot his name. The freaking Icicles kid. Damn, I forgot already. I don't want to speculate. I think it was Jordan. Was it Jordan? I don't know. It was either Jordan or Cameron. I don't know why. Icicle Jr. Let's just call him because I'm literally stumping on his name right now. He conveniently shows up. He was just there to check in on like, hey, what happened to the teacher? What happened? What's going on? And they don't give him all the detail. They just said, oh, he had like a psychotic break last night. He's in the loony bin, or he's in a mental hospital. And coincidentally enough, Courtney and Pat locate a specific painting that had Cindy holding the black diamond, which for them is like, okay, we know now she has the black diamond. As for him, Isaac Jr., they have to keep him out of it, so they're just playing the games of like, we don't know what this is. I mean, this could mean any number of things. But he does give them a piece of information that, yeah, Cindy's back in town. She's been back in town for a while. Of course, Courtney and Pat were unoblivious to it because between Green Lantern showing up, between the shade, and then just dealing with the impending threat of Eclipse, so they just completely forgot about Cindy for a good moment. But speaking of Cindy, Mike's back at the junkyard because after only 1 day of service with the JSA and to the new tutelage of Pat, his first assignment for the team was to build a very tiny device that literally serves no purpose as a team. It was just meant to distract Mike a little bit. And he's really a little left out again because like yesterday he was so set on like, this is it. I'm finally joining the team. You know, I may not be the new Thunderbolt anymore, but I can still be contributing. And he's not feeling it already. So he walks around, you know, after the other car mechanic guy, the owner of the junkyard, gives him the idea of like, why don't you build your own robot? I mean, you're Pat's son. You could probably make your own just like your dad. So Mike gets the idea. He starts looking around the junkyard for ideas. Cindy conveniently shows up. And the way she phrased it, I'm like, I still don't get why Cindy had to recruit Mike. It makes no logical sense because she just like immediately the conversation starts like, oh, I'm building a team, and Mike's like, oh, why do you need me for? Like, I'm not gonna turn to the evil side. And then Cindy's like, why would I need you? You have no powers, you have no abilities, you have no super suit. What point do we have on, actually, using you on our team? And of course, Cindy immediately just takes him away and, holds him hostage. Meanwhile, Pat's back at the shop, just presumably to just get some more work done in Eclipso and, trying to find Cindy now. Pied Piper Jr. and a suited up Artemis take on, sadly, Pat without the suit and honestly do a number on him. And Artemis proceeds to really destroy the suit up, which I'm like, great. The CW always finding ways to make like, oh, they destroyed it, or there wasn't time. And it's like, oh, there was just, it's all about stuff. It's like, okay, first of all, I've been a little bit of a critique when the whole, we were moving from the DC Universe slot to the CW, where it's like 7 out of the 13 episodes of season 1, we saw the striped suit, every single time. This season, we've only seen it stationary. And now that it's like now not totally wrecked, it's salvageable and fixable, but it's definitely going to take like a few episodes to fix. I'm like, this definitely seems like, okay, we're going to go out. Stripes will return in the finale. At this point, yeah, it's being saved for like the big moment, which I get, when you're budgeting wise. And also, this is the great thing about Stargirl is that they're making it work with the story. Like, story-wise, it makes sense why you don't need Stripe. I totally believe it. It's just I'm just finding it hilarious that every single time we want to see Stripe in action, it's just there's always an excuse. I'm just saying, like, it's not how the excuse is done. It's just the amount of times they use the excuse. So Pat's hospitalized. So Barbara and Courtney head over to kind of check him on him, and also my TV just went off, and my remote is so far away, and it's like. Did I really forget to mute the screen? Yes, I did. I really did forget to mute the screen. Anyway, continuing onwards. So there's two separate groups going on right now. So I think Courtney's just feeling super bad that she wasn't there for Pat. That they had a moment to stay together, but they opted to split up. And Barbara's just say it's not your fault. It really isn't. It was out of your control, but Courtney still can't help to feel that bad about him. Back at the scrap, not the scrapyard. I'm really struggling for words here. I really am. Back at the shop, Yolanda, Beth, and Rick are just catching up, analyzing the damage, and so they all determined, there is a new ISA. Similar to how we had a new JSA, now we have a new ISA. So now they definitely need to fight. They definitely need to take on this threat. And coincidentally nearby, Courtney gets a call from presumably Mike, but no, it's from Cindy, letting her know that like, I have Mike. You have an hour. I'm going to basically kill your family, kill your friends, and then I will kill you. Because you destroyed my life, I'm going to destroy yours. That's simple. An eye for an eye mentality. That sort of thing. So Courtney accepts the challenge. So she suits up with everyone else. They head over to the cafeteria. But before we get to that moment, just quite, I want to forget if we get any other scenes before we hit to the big scene of the episode. Yeah, so berkeley, I don't know how she does it. Barbara just coincidentally gets the Shade to come into their hospital room, and she tells the Shade, like, Cindy Berman was responsible for this, and, Courtney and the others are going to go fight him. And the Shade's like, honestly, like, why should I care? Your team, that team was literally just trying to take me down like less than a week ago. Why should I care? But Barbara has won. Like, we found out Cindy has the Black Diamond, which is what you want, right? And now she's like, okay, I'm in. Well, we'll see him. We'll see him later. So they head to the cafeteria, and we see the new ISA and the new JSA faced off. And I'm just saying, my other critique, even though I love this episode so much, I think it's still one, but I'm allowed to have a couple critiques. This is the second one. I really would have loved it if we would have saved this for season 3. Because I look at this now, it's like, okay, we have Pied Piper Jr., Sansa costume. We have Artemis in a very rough beta outfit, and then we have Cindy reusing her season 1 outfit. Versus against the new JSA, who is, these suits already fit them perfectly. They're classic and all. And then you could say, like, the ISA are still starting out. This new iteration, they're still starting out. So we can't really formally blame them for anything. I get that. The issue is that, again, it would have been a really badass moment to have, like, at some point in season 3 or the starter, where it's like Cindy is back, fully back. Like, she would have been in the season, but she would have been back, and she's got a whole new team behind her. And I'm not saying either of them win or lose, but it's just so heavily tied that I would have loved this season for, like, them to be involved, but, like, not them to be at the forefront of the conflict. Like, they're training, they're getting things ready, they're letting Eclipse still trying to take them down, but then once he inevitably fails, which I'm pretty sure this is how this season is going to end, they're going to say, okay, now we're up next. But hey, this episode was still pretty cool, this confrontation. Even Rick has the best line, like, seriously, you call us the losers? But shortly enough, after Courtney asks Cindy, where the hell is Mike? Cindy responds, like, Mike's in the ground. He's already gone. Courtney obviously overbursts and attacks her directly. So they have their rematch. Rick, Beth, and Yolanda are switching between Pied Piper Jr. and Artemis. I want to give her a cool nickname. Like, Artemis is her name in the comics, and she has a different name. But I would love to give her a cool nickname because, like, we have. Actually, never mind. Let's just forget about there. But mostly Yolanda's taking care of Pied Piper Jr. and Rick is the only one physically able to combat Artemis. So I'm just saying, like, this fight scene was just so freaking cool. It really was. At first, it started like your average fight where it's like each one of them demonstrating their abilities. How Pied Piper's mute sound waves are like really getting to all of them, even through some other fights happening in the distance. Yeah, we definitely know that Beth is completely out of her field here, and you know, she's only here for support really, and you know, she ends up just being the one to get Mike out of the place he's kept in. But I will say that, so seeing Yolanda back at her full Wildcat abilities was just so awesome. Because again, the Shade fight was pretty cool, but it was mainly Shade just wiping the floor with them. It really was. And then when we get to this episode, like actually getting to see all of them really use their powers to full max, it's like, this is freaking awesome. This really is. Seeing Yolanda figuring out her way to take care of Pied Piper Jr. and just using everything she's learned up to this point was so freaking awesome. And also, I'm very much sure Pied Piper Jr. did have a couple days of training, because like that violin looks a little too complicated for my liking, and he managed to play like a fiddle. Also, go watch Fiddler on the Roof, starring Alvin Molina, even though the play's been over for like 17 years. I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Rick handles on Artemis, which I'm like, this fight is so freaking brutal that I'm like concerned. Like, should I be concerned for Rick or should I be concerned for Artemis? Because Rick can take a lot of things, but he's taken 2 explosives. His head has been dunked in the toilet. He's handled a lot of punches and blows to his face, and Artemis is super powered-ish, but she's not. She's still kind of average. But she's just taking those blows from Rick, and that kind of sounds so wrong in terms of like a sexual context. That wasn't it at all. But I was just saying, like, damn, this fight scene was like really freaking brutal. And Courtney and Cindy's fight scene was okay. It was pretty good. Again, showing how far Courtney's come in her journey. Like, she's really using that step to her full potential right now. Cindy's kind of falling a little bit through the cracks. This is again just demonstrating how much of their power levels have changed. And I say that like it's a freaking Dragon Ball or something. But you just get to see Cindy, who has already been at like the peak of her power since season 1, and you'd have Courtney, who has been training for months since season 1, and just how much she's able to hold her own against Cindy at this encounter compared to their first encounter back in season 1. You really get to see that difference, and you really get to saw that out, that power difference this time around. But the one moment I'll say about this fight scene before we get to the latter part was there was a moment when like they were syncing up Yolanda, Rick's, and Courtney's fights, and like having the same move and the camera movement and just having like a freaking seamless transition. I'm like, this is probably one of the coolest fight scenes I've seen this year alone, and I love it. They really did such a good job with this. I'm pretty sure this fight scene probably took a whole night or a whole day or a half to produce, and it was just worth it. It's just still rewatchable, and I can't wait to go on YouTube afterwards and check it out. But eventually, yeah, Courtney and the others wipe the floor with that Piper Jr.'s violin is broken. Artemis's bat is destroyed. Cindy's basically got like her ass handed to her. And Mike's free. So like Cindy's like, you know what? It's time. It's time to whip out the secret weapon, the big boy, which is Eclipso. But before Eclipso can fully come out, Shade comes in his shades. And I completely forgot if he was in his shades at any point earlier this season. I don't think he was. This is his first time with the actual shades. He tries to stop Eclipso, but however, Eclipso does say like your powers come from my dimension, so technically where I'm still superior than you since I'm in my full dimension. Cindy gets most of her half taken over by Eclipso to use his full power, and just according to plan, Courtney just uses the opportunity to like maybe hopefully take them both down by using the spear. But when the spear and the diamond collide, you saw the energy waves, and it's just like so much energy going on both sides, like on the left and the right. And then the diamond cracks, explosion happens, they all get knocked back. And at first, we just see the outside reaction where you see the sun, the moon has become an eclipse. You saw Beth's dad, you saw the junkyard dude, you saw Barbara and Waking Up Pat just notice this, and they just kind of know it's like something just happened. We're all fucked. And when we got back to the cafeteria, we see what's going on, and he came out of his shell. No pun intended. Sorry, my freaking throat is literally at its limit here. So we see Eclipso for the first time, and again, I've seen him in the EW promo, so I already knew what he was gonna look like. But then when we got to see this scene, this moment, and just see him in action, and I'm just like, I think I said this last week or the week before, this freaking look for Eclipso is really, really well done. It really is. It honestly, for me, when he was in motion, it looked like an actual, honest to God, accurate look of what Green Goblin could have looked like. And it's just makeup. I just think to myself, how would it be if Willem Dafoe had that makeup level on for Spider-Man? It would have made him so much more creepier. And don't get me wrong, the outfit that they used for him is fine in Spider-Man 1. Who knows what it'll look like in No Way Home. But this freaking makeup, and it's so creepy and mesmerizing. It's so perfect. And he just wipes the board with everyone. He kills Piper Jr., He rips out Cindy's dagger shivs from her freaking wrist. He easily takes on the shot. He punches away Rick. Courtney's the only one who manages to do a little bit of damage towards him. And before we forget, he does summon a portal, or presumably Cindy dies. I don't think she's dead. I think she's just taken to the other dimension, or the one where Dr. Midnight is. Well, not really. I don't think Cindy's dead. I don't think they'll kill her off. I think she's just transported away somewhere. Courtney's the spear is the only thing that can actually do any damage on him. But when at the last blow, yeah, Eclipso is definitely feeling the pain from the staff. But eventually, the staff just stops, and he easily just pushes back Courtney as well. I initially thought for a good moment he was actually going to just take the staff and break it. That's what I thought at first, but he just pushes it away. I'm like, okay, good. I feel like the staff breaking would be like a later season thing, not like let's do it in season 2. So they definitely know how to pace themselves here. Eclipso runs away like a freaking wild dog or a freaking tiger or lion, and everyone's just in array. Everyone's just like desolated. Courtney runs outside to try and find him. He's nowhere to be found. But you see up in the sky the eclipse turning off, so it's like, yeah, he's here. He's here in Blue Valley now. So we should all be ready for his arrival. And so we head back to the hospital with Mike and Toad, and Courtney's just catching them up on what's going on. And yeah, they're basically like, we just played into Eclipso's hand, and now all he's going to do now is get more stronger, get more powerful. And we have at some point no way to stop him because the staff's not even working right now. So they're screwed at the moment. Back at the shop, the other three are just recouping, resting, and just figuring out we are so screwed. Eclipse just killed someone right in front of him. He literally ate his soul, and their two strongest members couldn't barely put a dent on him. But again, no matter what, like superheroes do, they got to find a way to stop him. And in Yolanda's words, we got to kill him. Which is kind of a little bit scary considering the fact that Yolanda literally just said earlier this season, I will never kill again. Calypso shows up, let's kill him. It's a little bit scary, but it's obviously just setting up for things for next week. And to wrap it up for the week, Calypso is running through town. Again, another great shot with the lighting, the makeup. This entire scene was perfect. And then he transitions himself to hiding as the little boy from the flashbacks. Which initially I felt like, okay, yeah, this was pretty much a way to like, this is how we save money. Like not putting Eclipso in the makeup suit all the damn time. But honestly, considering the fact they set this up again very well, it works. It works out in the end. And I honestly can't wait to see what damage he's going to cause to Blue Valley. You know, as his little boy. Like, I literally am scared for the people of this town. And the JSA have literally no resources to stop him at the current moment. So that's where the episode ends. So again, this was probably, yes, still the best episode of the season so far. The stakes were there. The action was fucking perfect. A couple of nitpicking moments, but this was still like the best episode by far. Just seeing Eclipso in live action, seeing him in his full glory was perfect. This was the perfect debut for him. Already hit the stakes of like he is leagues more threatening than the last ISA and the new ISA combined. And it's going to take an immense amount of work and luck for this current JSA to beat him. And considering how things are going, I have nothing but faith that they will tell this story very well. And I am very excited to see how this all plays out. I forgot to mention one thing from the recap. Mike does pull Pat over and it's like, look, we got this guy. He's a big friend. I need to step up my training. I don't want to be just the tech guy to build these little devices, these little contraptions. I want my own Stripe suit. I want to be the next Stripe. Which I'm like, this works out. Pat has literally been through 3 superhero iterations. He needs a break, and he's getting old. So I think it's like late 40s by this point in the story. Like he looks like in his late 40s. Then again, he looks really good. I'm gonna say early 40s, mid 40s. Let's go with that. But despite that, so it definitely everything is like changed moving forward. Because like, is the Shade even alive or dead? What does this mean for the new ISA? And Artemis got away, and how does the JSA react to this? There's just so many more questions, and this could easily build up the entirety for the second half of season 2. And I'm honestly very hyped to see where things go again next week. So. For me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. My microphone almost fell on me. I love this so much. I really did. Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this week's episode of Stargirl? I'm always down for conversation down below, so please leave a comment. So I think that's going to do it for me tonight, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the second season of Stargirl. If you want to know what we're doing overall on What's in the Tube besides our Stargirl reviews, we're currently doing Heels episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on the CW or free the next day on Stars. Apologies for that. Next week, we're starting up our Doom Patrol Season 3 episode reviews. We're back. The Doom Patrol's back. Bigger, dumber, stupider, but lovable than ever. It starts up next week. Now, similar to what we did with our Season 2 coverage last year, the HBO Max is going to release the first 3 episodes on their platform, and then going by a weekly release later on for the next 7 weeks after that. However, for us, as always, we will be reviewing each and every episode individually. So from Friday to Sunday next week, we will be reviewing every single episode of Doom Patrol Season 3 individually. So you have episode 1 on Friday, episode 2 on Saturday, and episode 3 on Sunday, and then it will come on its normal Friday time slot the week after that on the first Friday of October. So that's going to be all sorts of fun. I can't wait to get started back on that journey. It's been a long time. The cliffhanger, the lack of Timothy Dalton in the promos, there's just very much of a want to like, how does this story continue? I'm really excited for next week. And also, I'm wondering what contraption I'm going to wear for that review series, because I had the sunglasses for Heels. demonstrating the wrestler announcement. I don't know why I'm trying to do the John Cena thing. The face mask, the superhero mask for not Supergirl, Stargirl. What am I use for Doom Patrol? I'll figure it out. I got a week to go. But again, if you want to care about Stargirl, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another episode review, hopefully on time because baseball screwed over my schedule this week. I will slap this out for it later. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's on the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionXvideos. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get it out there to other members of the Stargirls who have yet to discover us. Helps us beat up the YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much, and as well as sharing is for free here on the interwebs. Hit the ring, hit the bell to get up to date with any sort of update or everything for the channel, as well as follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. So until next week, for all you Stargirls out there, I'll see you all then. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.